Good evening to our viewers watching on television and those joining us online across our social media platforms. I am Adana Doric with the Monday, March 30th edition of the Guyana TV9 News. In the headlines tonight, U.S. Ambassador says Ali-led PPPC government acting in best interest of all Guyanese. Protectors, not predators. Traffic chief urges Guyanese not to fear roadside officers. President Ali says Guyana now a key force in Caribbean disaster response. Mohammed extradition case strictly legal, not political, U.S. Ambassador. And 16-year-old stabbed to death outside Robb Street nightclub. Now for the news in depth. U.S. Ambassador to Guyana Nicole Theriot has expressed strong confidence in the leadership of President Dr. Mohammed Irfan Ali and the PPPC administration, stating that she believes the government is acting in the best interest of the Guyanese people. Here is more.
Speaking during an interview on the Sources program, Ambassador Theriot said she is encouraged by the direction the country is heading, noting that the scale and pace of development across Guyana are clear indicators of a government-focused national progress.
I honestly believe that the current leadership of this country has the Guyanese people's best interests at heart. I just look around at all of the infrastructure projects that are going on, and it's really important to note they're not just in Georgetown. I travel all around the country, and I see it everywhere that I go. They are using the oil revenues that they're receiving now, and the budget is being allocated to create critical infrastructure that will benefit all Guyanese.
She highlighted the development is not confined to Georgetown, but is occurring across regions with major investments in infrastructure, roads, housing, and public services aimed at improving the lives of citizens nationwide. Theriot also addressed concerns surrounding large-scale infrastructure spending, defending the government's approach. She explained that such investments are necessary to build a strong foundation for long-term growth, improve connectivity, and support economic expansion.
The president loves to say, people sometimes criticize him because you can't eat a road. But the fact is that is going to allow the Guyanese farmer, Guyanese business people, the average Guyanese citizen to be able to move more freely and quickly around the country, and that is going to improve the personal circumstances of the Guyanese people. And there are direct benefits to the people of Guyana as well. So I think I see everything moving in the right direction, and I'm so proud and grateful that we are continually turned to be the partner in that development, because when you work with a U.S. company, you're going to have quality, you're going to have sustainability, and you're going to have very high business ethics standards and international quality. So working with the U.S. was a wonderful decision that was made by your government.
According to the U.S. diplomat, these projects will not only enhance transportation and ease movement across the country, but will also create opportunities for business development and job creation. She further noted that the strategic use of oil revenues is playing a key role in financing these initiatives, emphasizing that the focus appears to be on ensuring that the benefits of Guyana's oil wealth reach the broader population. The ambassador also acknowledged the importance of continued collaboration between Guyana and the United States, describing the relationship as strong and mutually beneficial, particularly as Guyana continues to emerge as a major player in the global energy sector. Her remarks come at a time when Guyana is experiencing rapid economic growth and transformation, driven largely by its oil and gas sector, alongside significant public and private investments in infrastructure and development. As discussions continue around governance, spending, and national priorities, the ambassador's comments add an international perspective supporting the current administration's development agenda. Melanie Morris, Guyana TV9 News.
President Irfan Ali has underscored Guyana's growing role as a major player in Caribbean disaster response and humanitarian support, highlighting the country's increasing contributions across the region. More in this report.
Speaking at the closing reception for the South supported Lesser Antilles Medical Assistance Team LAMAT mission, the head of state positioned Guyana as an active and responsible partner within the Caribbean, sharing both opportunities and challenges with neighboring states. President Ali emphasized that disasters and public health threats do not respect borders, noting that regional cooperation is essential for effective response and long-term resilience.
Guyana is part of a wider Caribbean community Together, Guyana and the Caribbean share both opportunities and challenges, from public health threats to natural disasters. The issues we face do not recognize national borders, and as such, our responses cannot be confined within them.
He explained that the Lamont mission extended beyond immediate medical care, focusing on strengthening local healthcare systems and fostering collaboration between international and local professionals. This approach, he said, is key to building long-term capacity within Guyana and across the Caribbean. The president also commended the Guyana Defense Force for its continued commitment to regional support, highlighting that 52 personnel are currently deployed in Jamaica, assisting with post-hurricane recovery, while 70 members participated in the Lamont mission locally. Guyana has also provided assistance to countries including St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Grenada, and Haiti.
Because of your investment in us and your partnership and support in us, we are now positioned as a leading response team in this region. And over the last couple of years, we have led from the front, most times, as the first responder in natural disaster across this region. And that, a lot of that is because of the capacity building and strengthening as a result of this partnership. So I want to thank our local guys for really keeping the golden arrowhead flying.
The Lamont mission, which ran from March 17 to 27, brought together 80 U.S. medical personnel, the largest contingent to date, working alongside Guyanese healthcare teams at key institutions, such as the Georgetown Public Hospital Corporation, the Cheddi Jagan Dental School, the Diamond Regional Hospital, the West Demerara Regional Hospital, and the Dequendran Regional Hospital. More than $300,000 in medical supplies were delivered during the mission, while training initiatives and collaboration efforts helped to enhance institutional capacity and strengthen emergency preparedness across the health sector. President Ali noted that through sustained investment and strategic partnerships, Guyana has evolved from a recipient of aid into a proactive contributor and leader in regional humanitarian efforts. Melanie Morris, Guyana TV9 News.
Police are investigating the fatal stabbing of a 16-year-old boy which occurred outside of a nightclub along Robb Street, Georgetown. The teen reportedly sustained injuries during an altercation and later died, while the alleged assailant has since been taken into custody as investigations continue in the circumstances surrounding the incident. Meanwhile, Club Red Dragon has issued a statement distancing itself from the tragedy, clarifying that the incident did not occur on its premises. The establishment also emphasized that it maintains a strict 18 and over entry policy and does not permit minors, as authorities continue their probe into the matter. Public health specialist Dr. Shanti Singh Anthony recently highlighted the dramatic evolution of Guyana's HIV response over the last 3 decades, transitioning from a state of crisis to a structured, treatment-focused system. Speaking on the Starting Point podcast, she detailed her 21-year journey at the forefront of this transformation.
Dr. Singh stated that her early years in medicine exposed her to the harsh realities of the epidemic, particularly during the 1990s, when resources were scarce and knowledge about HIV was still developing. She explained that healthcare workers were forced to manage patients in extremely difficult conditions with limited tools and support.
There was a ward that was called AIDS ward.
Correct.
Because there were so many people who were being hospitalized because they were showing up very sick, not with HIV, but with AIDS. And so those were very difficult times, not just that they were on the AIDS ward, but also there was no treatment, and so people were dying. So that's one. The second thing is that we were faced with a growing number of people who were dying of AIDS, but we did not have the resources. And by resources, I mean we did not have the financial resources, neither did we have the technical resources. And
according to Dr. Singh, one of the most significant transformations came in the early 2000s when Guyana began building a structured HIV program from what she described as ground zero. She emphasized that initiatives such as rapid testing, treatment expansion, and prevention programs fundamentally changed the patient outcome. She further stated that before these advancements, patients had to wait extended periods for test results, sometimes requiring samples to be sent overseas. However, with the introduction of point-of-care testing, individuals can now receive results within minutes, significantly improving early detection and treatment. Dr. Singh emphasized that despite these gains, the fight against HIV is far from over. While new infections have declined from over 1,000 cases annually in the early 2000s to fewer than 500 in recent years, she noted that the rate of decline may not be sufficient to meet global targets of ending AIDS by 2030. She stated that one of the most persistent challenges continues to be stigma and discrimination, which discourages individuals from seeking testing and treatment. According to her, fear of being judged or exposed remains a major barrier within communities.
But the issue of stigma and discrimination persists. And so when we started out in the 80s with this epidemic, it was really, really very stigmatized. But even though we have made progress, and so it still remains a challenge today. So a lot of work has been done to be able to erode some of the stigma that's there. And I'll give you an example. The National Day of Testing that we started out in the 2000s was really an initiative to get more people to know their HIV status, but it was an initiative to begin to normalize HIV testing and the conversations around HIV. And you would recall that, you know, for National Days of Testing, that then became a National Week of Testing in November month every year, people were standing in lines waiting to get their tests, and they were talking about HIV, which was really a big shift from when we started.
Dr. Singh also emphasized that changing social dynamics, particularly among young people, are contributing to new infections. She explained that increased exposure to social media, peer pressure, and risky behaviors are creating additional challenges for public health officials trying to control the spread of HIV. She stated that addressing these issues will require a multifaceted approach, including stronger education programs, earlier engagement with adolescents, and more open conversations within homes and schools. Dr. Singh stressed that empowering individuals with accurate information and access to prevention tools remains critical to sustaining progress in Guyana's HIV response. Melanie Morris, Guyana TV9 News.
More news after the break. Stay tuned.
Want to place your death announcements and in memoriam messages on Channel 9? Call 592-761-5006, 710-5008, 600-5006. Or visit our office at Lot 85A Lamaha Street, Albertown, Georgetown, Century 21 Building.
Guyana, Channel 9 is now Guy TV9, proudly under new management. We're building stronger with a balanced and open platform for all advertisers. Whether you're promoting a business, service, or event, your message belongs right here. So choose your spot, news, primetime, or anytime, and reach viewers across Guyana. With affordable rates and professional service, Guy TV9 is your partner in progress. So visit us at Lot 21A, Lamaha Street, Georgetown, in the Century 21 building, or call 600-5006 or 761-5006. Guyana TV9. New leadership, fresh outlook, real results.
Welcome back. You're watching the Guyana TV9 News Bulletin. United States Ambassador to Guyana Nicole Theriot has formally rejected claims of political interference in the extradition case involving businessmen Azruddin and Nazar Mohammed, emphasizing that the request is strictly a legal matter initiated by U.S. authorities. More in this report. Amid growing public debate, Ambassador Theriot clarified that the extradition process was triggered solely by the United States government, with no involvement or influence from the government of Guyana, and is being pursued in accordance with established legal procedures. The U.S. diplomat underscored the importance of public understanding, stressing that the matter is grounded in law and not politics.
What the U.S. Will do, but what is expected of the signatories, for Guyana in particular, what do you expect of us?
So obviously this is a brand new coalition. But at the moment, what we want is to know that you will be a willing partner. And we realize that most of the countries in the coalition are going to require assistance to get to a level where they can independently counter these cartels and these narco traffickers and other forms of transnational crime. So at this point, we want to help build your capacity, whether it be training, whether it be equipment, resources. But at a certain point, we want it to be, and it already is, but we want it to continue to be a partnership where you can defend your own sovereignty and you can assist us in the regional, in attacking the regional issues that we all face that are having profound consequences for our citizens.
Now, talking about drugs, drug trafficking. Now, how the impact has been with regards to the DA's work here in partnership with agencies like KANU? Are you recording success? Are you seeing major fines?
Absolutely, incredibly proud of that. I think people forget about these huge successes we've had because these operations take so long to plan and carry out. It's not something you can just do overnight. All of these huge successes that we've had in collaboration, or actually you've had working with us, have been months in the making. But we have had incredible success. I'm gonna get the number wrong, but there was a 400 kilo seizure that happened. That was massive. There was a semi-submersible that was intercepted. We have had real successes there. And I think for a country that's just developing its capacity in that regard, you're doing incredibly well. And we want to stand side by side with you to help you get there.
Now, gold has also been an issue, the smuggling of gold. Now, this gold coming from Venezuela was mentioned by the U.S. and, you urge Guyanans to take certain steps. What role has the U.S. played in tracking and curbing these transnational smuggling networks, and how it ties into our operation here?
That's a great question, and our ability to track is rather constrained to our own country. So we know what happens when it hits the U.S. border. But in between there, it's a little bit more difficult for us to determine. So that's why these partnerships are so important. You have a really good FIU here, and we work closely with them. We actually just did some training with them. I think it was this week. It was earlier this week. We did some anti-corruption training that was co-sponsored by the US and the UK. And that was financial crimes training. And so that's going to be really important that we'll be able to work together with all of the countries involved to do the tracking, because that's not something that can be done unilaterally.
Mm-hmm. And I'm happy that you mentioned training, because the question often arises with regards to prosecution and oversight. What more could be done, or what Washington is doing to help Guyana strengthen prosecution? Because we could detect these crimes, we could catch the criminals in the act, but if they're not prosecuted and they're allowed to go back into the world, then it defeats the purpose. So how is the U.S. helping to strengthen prosecution here and oversight?
So we have done, and we've been doing for years, we will bring in experts from the United States on whatever the issue is that needs the most assistance, and we let the Guyanese tell us what that is. I mean, who are we to tell you what you need the most assistance on? But when we are asked for assistance, and I have to say the British have been wonderful in this too. We do a lot of co-sponsored training and exercises, but we have definitely when we're asked, we provide that assistance because we have quite a good track record. One of the things that we did that I think has been incredibly useful, and it may sound not very sexy, but it's incredibly important, is that we piloted a case management system in the judiciary that digitized court records. So you have all of these delays in the courts. It takes so long for things to happen. But once you digitize those records and they're available at the stroke of a key on your computer, that makes everything move much more quickly, and it will have a trickle effect. So you'll be able, all of these backlog cases, you'll be able to get to much more quickly, and then you can stay current. And that was something that we did through our Department of State Bureau for International Narcotics and Law Enforcement Affairs. And it was so successful. We did it here in Georgetown with the judiciary. It was so successful that they're expanding it to other parts of the country.
That's good.
So we're really proud of that. But we are consistently providing training. We want you to have what you need, and it benefits all of us when you have a judicial system that's moving quickly and efficiently.
Now, the U.S. has previously sanctioned Guyanese individuals over corruption. How serious are Washington's concerns about corruption in Guyana today?
We've also sanctioned people on drug trafficking as well.
Yeah.
Corruption is an issue worldwide. I have worked in places like Haiti, Nigeria, Afghanistan, where corruption was just normal. And that's a real issue. And I applaud your president during his inauguration speech coming out and publicly saying, we will not tolerate this anymore, and we're going to address it in my next term. And he's been true to his word on that. We actually brought in about a month ago, a Department of Justice and FBI task force who did an assessment to look at ways that the U.S. government can help you set up an anti-corruption unit here, if that's something that you decide is desirable. Just ways that you can consolidate, because I believe most of your ministries have an anti-corruption office, but a way to consolidate. And that will allow for better oversight and also for implementation is always an issue here, because you have such a your labor force is so small, and so implementation and enforcement always becomes difficult with your small bureaucracy. So that's something that we want to assist with as well.
But do you think there's more that could be done to maybe increase transparency, increase accountability, now that we're strengthening our ability to combat corruption?
There's always more that can be done in my country as well. And I think that is one of the reasons that your government is moving so quickly towards using technology, using AI, using digitizing things, so that it takes out that human element that allows for corruption. So I think that is something that both we and your government want to see happen, and we're working towards that.
Mm-hmm. Now, something that has grabbed Guyana's attention, well, most of Guyana, the issue of the Mohammeds being sanctioned by the U.S. And you've said that the U.S. is 100% committed to the extradition of the Mohammeds. What timeline or outcome is Washington realistically expecting at this stage? And just this past week, we saw that the case is for the pushback. It's now going to be, at least the case in the magistrate's court is now set for a continuation on April 7th.
Right. Well, it is in your court, and I think that's the key point. It is a process. We've done our part, and now it's with your court. We don't have an expectation or a timeline because it's not ours to control. So when the decision is made, it's made, and we will proceed from there. We are ready today. If the magistrate made a decision today, we would move forward with the process. But that is not within our control, and so we are patiently waiting to see what happens.
Now, one of the arguments put forward is that, and it's a claim, particularly by the Mohammeds, that this whole extradition, it's politically influenced and motivated. And there's also concern that, if they're extradited, that there could be some, it could destabilize Guyana to some extent, politically at least. The landscape. Mm-hmm.
So the United States does not pursue criminal charges for political reasons. We do it because we have hard, unequivocal evidence against a person. Why would we take on a case we don't think we're going to win? That's just a waste of the U.S. taxpayers' money. So we firmly believe that they're guilty of the crimes that they're being indicted for. It's in the Guyanese judiciary's hands at this point, and we're ready to move forward. I hope that's not the case here in Guyana, because I hope that destabilization doesn't occur. I mean, that would be really tragic, because we're simply holding people that we believe are guilty of a crime accountable for that crime. And to be fair, it's not just the United States taxpayers that were defrauded. I mean, let's be clear about that. I'll just leave it at that. But I hope that is not the case, and I hope people will understand that things are being done by the book, based on the law, and it's not certainly not politically motivated from our.
The Mohammeds were sanctioned in 2024 by the U.S. Department of the Treasury's Office of Foreign Assets Control (OFAC) over allegations tied to an illegal gold export and money laundering scheme involving undeclared shipments, issues that form the basis of the U.S. extradition request. They are currently facing serious charges before the United States District Court of the Southern District of Florida, including conspiracy to commit wire fraud, mail fraud, and money laundering. Extradition proceedings commenced before Magistrate Judy Lachman on January 6, 2026, following their arrest on October 31, 2025, after an authority to proceed ATP was issued by Minister of Home Affairs Onich Walwyn. Subsequently, legal challenges were filed in the High Court in December 2025, questioning the constitutionality of amendments to the Fugitive Offenders Act and alleging bias in the insurance of the ATP. Acting Chief Justice Navindra Singh ruled on the matter on February 4, 2026. That decision was later upheld unanimously by the Court of Appeal on March 17, 2026, with Acting Chancellor Roxanne George Wiltshire SC affirming that the minister's role in issuing the ATP is administrative and not judicial, and that proper procedures were followed.
Well, it is in your court, and I think that's the key point. It is a process. We've done our part, and now it's with your court. We don't have an expectation or a timeline because it's not ours to control. So when the decision is made, it's made, and we will proceed from there. We are ready today. If the magistrate made a decision today, we would move forward with the process. But that is not within our control. And
the Court of Appeal further ruled that there was no breach of statutory requirements in the handling of the matter. The Mohammeds have since sought special leave to appeal to the Caribbean Court of Justice, CCJ, which has granted an interim stay on the extradition proceedings. The committal hearing before the Georgetown Magistrates Court is now paused, pending the CCJ's decision. The substantive hearing is scheduled for April 21, 2026 at 9 hours, with proceedings before Principal Magistrate Judy Lachman remaining formally suspended until then. Adana Dork, and TV9 News. Traffic Chief Mahendra Singh is encouraging road users to view traffic officers as allies rather than threats. He emphasized that their presence is intended to protect lives and maintain order, urging the public not to feel intimidated by their work on the nation's roadways. Speaking on the issue, Singh said the visibility of officers should be seen as a reassurance rather than a cause for concern, as their duties center on enforcing the law and reducing accidents. He stressed that compliance with traffic regulations is essential and not a matter of choice. According to Singh, road safety depends heavily on the cooperation of drivers and pedestrians, who must respect traffic rules and adhere to guidance provided by officers stationed along busy routes. Chief Singh explained that traffic ranks are deployed in key areas to manage the flow of vehicles and ensure that road users operate within the confines of the law. Their work, he noted, is guided by a framework that includes enforcement, education, and engineering, all of which contribute to safer road conditions. The traffic chief made it clear that officers are not positioned to hinder motorists from going about their daily activities. Instead, their presence is intended to support the smooth and continuous movement of traffic while encouraging responsible behavior behind the wheel.
By law, we are required to be on the roadway. Traffic police, specifically along any space that we will manage traffic, which focuses on enforcement, education, and engineering. Here, our presence on the road is not to deter you from accomplishing anything positive, but to support smooth, continuous progression that persons are complying with the laws, the rules of the road, and or they're practicing the C's of defensive driving.
He also pointed that traffic accidents are not caused by officers, but by the actions of drivers themselves. Reckless driving, failure to follow rules, and lack of defensive driving practices remain the leading contributors to collisions on the road. Rejecting the notion of an adversarial relationship thinks that the interaction between traffic police and the public should be viewed as a shared effort. He noted that both officers and citizens operate within the same environment and have a mutual responsibility to uphold safety standards.
Our role is to guarantee that there will be a reduction in accident, because if you look at it carefully, is it the policeman or woman who is on the road that is at the steering wheel causing you to behave in a manner which results in an accident occurring? No. And so I'd like to tell the public that it's not us against you. It's more of all of us contained in the same environment or captured within the environment that demands safety, that guarantees a level of road safety where there isn't a fear of an accident occurring or results in an accident occurring.
Singh added that the goal is to foster a road culture where individuals feel secure and accidents are minimized. He said this can only be achieved when drivers understand their role and work alongside law enforcement to maintain order. He reiterated that the presence of traffic officers is ultimately a safeguard, ensuring that all road users comply with the law and contribute to a safer traffic environment. Adana Dorek, TV9 News. In regional news, regional chairman of the VHP and former president of Suriname, Chandrika Prasad Santokhi, has died at the age of 67. Reports indicate that earlier today, emergency medical services were summoned to his residence following a medical crisis. After receiving initial treatment at the scene, he was transported to a hospital where he subsequently passed away. Further details surrounding his death have not yet been disclosed. Internationally, ahead of tropical cyclone Narelle, Shark Bay in Western Australia was enveloped in an eerie blood-red sky as an iron-rich dust from the Pilbara whipped across the landscape. Thick clouds diffused sunlight, intensifying the apocalyptic hue, coating ear, eyes, and teeth in gritty red particles, creating an unforgettable and striking natural spectacle. Those are our major headlines for tonight's newscast. For more trending stories, follow us on our Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube platforms at GOI TV9. I'm Adana Dorek. Thanks for watching.